Have you ever wondered why some people seem to get respect so easily? Nobody interrupts them. People don't waste their time. Others take them seriously without question. So what makes them different? What do they have that you don't? If you're tired of being taken for granted, like this video and stay with me, because what you're about to learn will completely change how people treat you. I'm about to tell you something that might actually make you a little angry. The reason they get respect isn't because they're smarter, richer, or more successful than you. It's because they understand one psychological trick that most people were never taught. A trick that is incredibly simple but very powerful. Once you truly understand it, the way people treat you will start to change. Think about this. Someone cuts in front of you in a line, and you stay quiet. A friend cancels plans with you at the last minute for the third time, and you just smile and say it's fine. Someone takes credit for your idea, and you let it go. Do you know what you're really doing in those moments? You're training people to walk all over you. But here's the shocking part. The people who never deal with this kind of treatment are not just lucky. They're not avoiding it by accident. They're using a powerful secret about human psychology that was discovered by Niccolò Machiavelli more than 500 years ago. A secret that separates people who naturally command respect from those who constantly look for approval. Now let me ask you something. What if being liked is actually making you weaker? What if every time you try to please everyone, you are slowly giving away your power? What if the more you chase approval, the less people actually respect you? This isn't feel-good advice. This is real psychology that works every single time. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some people naturally command attention when they walk into a room while others fade into the background. Why some people are listened to while others are ignored. And most importantly, how you can become the kind of person people never disrespect again. Are you ready to stop being everyone's backup option and start becoming their first choice? Before we continue, drop this affirmation in the comments. Respect over approval. 1. The hidden weakness of wanting to be liked. Think about every person who has ever walked over you, ignored you, or treated you like you didn't matter. They all had one thing in common. They knew you needed their approval more than they needed yours. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you truly respected someone who was desperate to be liked? Probably never. Because desperation has a kind of energy to it. People can sense it from far away. When being liked becomes your main priority, something interesting happens. You become predictable. People know exactly how you will react. They know you will smile even when they insult you. They know you will agree even when they are clearly wrong. They know you will show up even when they don't respect your time. And once people can predict you like that, you become replaceable. Ironically, the harder you try to make people like you, the less they actually respect you. I know it sounds strange, but think about the people you truly respect. Are they constantly looking for your approval? Or are they the ones who seem completely fine whether they have it or not? The truth is simple. People are naturally attracted to those who don't need them. This is basic human psychology. We tend to want what feels hard to get, and we ignore what comes too easily. So when you chase approval, you are actually lowering your value in people's eyes. Niccolò Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." He wasn't saying you should become a tyrant. He was talking about the psychology behind respect. In this context, fear doesn't mean terror. It means consequences. When people know there will be consequences for crossing a line with you, they start treating you differently. Think about the people in your life who command real respect. Maybe it was your strictest teacher. Maybe your toughest boss. Or that one friend who always tells the truth, even when it hurts. What do they all have in common? They don't need your approval to feel confident about themselves. They have boundaries, and they enforce those boundaries. Meanwhile, people-pleasers often get stepped on, ignored, and forgotten. Because when you make yourself available to everyone, you stop being special to anyone. And here's the hard truth. The people who benefit from your constant need to be liked don't actually respect you for it. Deep down, they see it as weakness. They might say nice things to your face. They might smile when they talk to you. But behind closed doors, they know you're the person who will bend over backwards just to get a little attention. This is the trap that keeps millions of people powerless. They believe that being extra nice and always agreeing will earn them love and respect. But instead, it only leads to being taken for granted. Because respect isn't something people just give you. Respect is something you command. And you can't command anything while you're kneeling down asking for approval. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose power. 2. The dark power of respect. Now that you understand why constantly trying to be liked can actually work against you, let's talk about what truly works. Respect. Not the fake kind of respect people show just to be polite. I'm talking about the deep, instinctive kind of respect that makes people think twice before they cross you. Respect is built on one simple principle. Consequences. When people know that disrespecting you will cost them something, they think twice before doing it. It's really that simple. But when people know they can treat you badly without any pushback, what do you think happens? They keep doing it. This is where many people misunderstand respect. They think respect comes from being impressive, successful, or talented. But that's not respect. That's admiration. Real respect comes from knowing that you will not tolerate disrespect. It comes from having boundaries that actually mean something. Let me explain it clearly. When someone disrespects you and you do nothing, you are teaching them that disrespecting you has no cost. You're literally training them to treat you badly. But when someone disrespects you and there is an immediate consequence, maybe they lose access to your time, your help, or your presence, they learn very quickly not to repeat that behavior. This is why the nicest people are often treated the worst. They've unknowingly trained everyone around them that bad behavior has no consequences. They've made themselves easy to disrespect. And once you become easy to disrespect, true respect becomes almost impossible. But everything changes when you flip the situation. When you show people that your time, attention, and energy are valuable. When you make it clear that disrespect comes with a price. Suddenly, people begin to watch their words around you. They start thinking carefully before they act. And they begin to treat you like someone who truly matters. Niccolò Machiavelli once said, "Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that he who deceives will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived." In simple terms, people will treat you exactly the way you allow them to treat you. No better. No worse. The interesting thing about respect is that it builds on itself. The more you demand it, the more you receive it. And the more you receive it, the easier it becomes to demand it. It becomes a powerful upward cycle that slowly changes how everyone sees you. But here's the important difference. When you try to force people to like you, you give them control. They decide whether to give you approval or not. But when you demand respect, you keep the control. Because respect isn't something others give you. It's something you take by refusing to accept anything less. Think about the most respected people you know. Do they beg for respect? Do they explain why they deserve it? Do they lower their standards just to make others comfortable? Never. They simply refuse to accept disrespect. And that refusal becomes their strength. This is the real difference between powerful people and powerless people. Powerful people understand that respect is not negotiable. Powerless people believe respect must be earned by being extra kind and overly generous. But you cannot gain respect by giving away your power. You gain respect by protecting it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My worth is not up for debate. 3. The psychology of control. Here's something that might completely change the way you see your daily interactions. Every interaction you have with someone involves control. Who controls the conversation? Who controls the relationship? Who controls the final outcome? And here's the most important part. If you don't know who's in control, then it's probably not you. People who constantly seek approval give away control without even noticing it. Every time you change your behavior just to make someone like you, you hand them control over your actions. Every time you stay silent to avoid conflict, you give them control over your voice. Every time you say yes when you actually want to say no, you give them control over your choices. But people who don't depend on approval, they keep control. They speak honestly, no matter how others react. They make choices based on what they want, not based on what people expect from them. Instead of accepting whatever terms others set, they create the rules for how they interact with people. This is why the addiction to approval is so dangerous. It's not only about feeling good or bad. It's really about who gets to control what happens in your life. And when you depend on other people's approval just to feel okay about yourself, you're basically handing them the remote control to your emotions. Think about it this way. When you desperately want someone to like you, you'll do almost anything to keep them happy. You start changing your opinions. You hide parts of who you truly are. You even compromise your values. You slowly become whatever they want you to be. That's not a real relationship. That's slavery with extra steps. But when you stop needing their approval, when you're completely okay with them disliking you if that's what it takes to stay true to yourself, then everything changes. Now you hold the power. Because they can no longer use your need for approval against you. This is the secret confident people understand. They're not confident because nothing bothers them. They're confident because they don't allow other people's opinions to control how they value themselves. They've made themselves psychologically untouchable. Niccolò Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." The moment you stop trying to perform just to gain people's approval, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. So what happens when you finally break free from the approval trap? First, people can't manipulate you anymore. They can't push your emotional buttons because those buttons are no longer connected to your actions. They can't guilt-trip you, shame you, or pressure you. Why? Because those tricks only work on people who depend on validation. Second, your decision-making becomes extremely clear. Instead of asking, "What will make others happy?" you start asking, "What is best for me?" Instead of trying to satisfy everyone, you begin focusing on the one opinion that truly matters, your own. Third, your relationships improve a lot. Not all of them, though. Some people will hate the fact that they can't control you anymore, and they'll slowly disappear from your life. And honestly, that's a good thing. The relationships that stay will be the real ones, built on mutual respect instead of your desperation for approval. This is the mindset shift that changes everything. From, "I hope they like me," to, "I don't care if they like me." From, "What do they think?" to, "What do I think?" From, "I need their approval," to, "They need to earn my respect." Now drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my worth. 4. The addiction to approval. Let's talk about something a little uncomfortable. Your need for approval isn't just a personality habit. It's actually an addiction. And like every addiction, there are people who know how it works, and they use it against you. Here's how approval addiction works. Someone compliments you, likes your post, or tells you how amazing you are. Your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that gets released when people take drugs. You feel good. Really good. But just like any drug, once that good feeling fades away, you start craving another hit. Now here's the dark part. People around you quickly notice this pattern. They realize that giving you a little bit of approval can make you do almost anything. Need you to stay late at work. They praise your work ethic. Need to borrow money from you. They compliment how generous you are. Need you to ignore their bad behavior. They sweet-talk you about how understanding you are. They are literally using your brain chemistry against you. And the worst part? You're helping them do it. Because you're so hungry for validation that you accept whatever tiny scraps of approval they throw at you. That's why approval addiction is so dangerous. It makes you easy to control. People learn exactly which emotional buttons to press to get what they want from you. They don't need to threaten you or force you. All they need to do is give you a small amount of the validation you crave, and you'll bend over backwards for them. But people who don't rely on approval, they are almost impossible to manipulate like that. You can't control someone with compliments if they don't need compliments. You can't manipulate someone with acceptance if they don't need acceptance. And you can't use their emotions against them if their emotions aren't controlled by your opinion. Here's the brutal truth about validation. It's cheap to give but expensive to depend on. Anyone can tell you that you're amazing. It costs them nothing. But for you to feel good about yourself, you need to hear it again and again, from more and more people. Eventually, you become dependent on something that others completely control. Niccolò Machiavelli once said, "He who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner affects his ruin than his preservation." In other words, when you focus more on who people think you should be instead of who you truly are, you slowly destroy your own power. Think about how this shows up in real life. A person addicted to approval changes their personality depending on who they are around. They have different opinions in different groups. They hide the parts of themselves that might not be popular. They become a collection of masks instead of a real person. Meanwhile, people who don't need approval stay the same everywhere. They are the same person in every room. They express their real thoughts no matter how others react. They don't hide who they truly are because they aren't afraid of disapproval. And strangely enough, this authenticity makes them more respected, and more genuinely liked, than any people-pleaser could ever be. But breaking free from approval addiction is not easy. Your brain will fight you the whole time. It will try to convince you that without other people's approval you will be lonely and rejected. It will make you feel guilty for not caring about what others think. It will try to pull you back into the old habit of chasing validation. This is where discipline becomes important. You have to consciously decide to stop seeking approval, even when every part of you wants to chase it. You must be willing to be disliked, misunderstood, and criticized. You have to value your own opinion more than the opinions of everyone else combined. Now drop this affirmation in the comments. My validation comes from within. 5. Machiavellian rules to command respect. Now we move into the practical part. These are the rules that can transform you from someone people walk over into someone who naturally commands respect, even without saying much. These are not just theories. They are tested principles that work again and again. Rule 1: Speak less. Act more. Most people talk too much and act too little. They constantly explain themselves, make excuses, and over-explain everything. And that often makes them look weak or desperate to be understood. People who command respect do the opposite. They speak only when they have something important to say. And they allow their actions to speak louder than their words. They don't explain their decisions to people who haven't earned the right to question them. They don't justify their choices to people who wouldn't make better choices anyway. If someone disrespects you, don't give them a long speech about respect. Simply remove yourself from their presence. If someone crosses a boundary, don't lecture them about boundaries. Just enforce the consequence. If someone questions your decision, don't argue or defend it. Just stand by it. Niccolò Machiavelli once said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. Be the fox when you need strategy. Be the lion when you need strength." Rule 2: Never chase approval. This rule is simple. But it's not easy. No matter how badly you want someone to like you, never chase their approval. Don't keep texting them again and again if they don't reply. Don't start explaining yourself just because they seem upset. Don't try to win them over when they act cold toward you. When you chase someone's approval, it sends a clear message: desperation. And desperation pushes respect away. Instead, learn to be indifferent to their opinion about you. If they like you, that's fine. If they don't, that's their loss. This kind of indifference is powerful. It makes people curious. They start wondering why you don't need their approval, and that curiosity often makes them respect you even more. Rule 3: Stay calm and cold when attacked. When someone tries to provoke you, insult you, or push your buttons, the way you react changes everything. If you become emotional, defensive, or angry, they win. Why? Because they've just proven they can control your emotions. And if they can control your emotions, they have power over you. But if you stay calm, completely calm, and respond with cold indifference, or even a little amusement, you send a powerful message. You show everyone watching that their attack has no effect on you. You become psychologically untouchable. And that can be very intimidating for people who rely on emotional manipulation. Rule 4: Stay unpredictable. Predictable people are easy to control. When people know exactly how you will react in every situation, they can easily manipulate those reactions to get what they want from you. So keep people guessing. Sometimes be generous. Sometimes be strict. Sometimes be social. Sometimes be distant. Sometimes help others. Sometimes focus on yourself first. This kind of unpredictability keeps others off balance and reminds them that you are independent. Niccolò Machiavelli once said, "Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved." Don't be predictably nice. And don't be predictably harsh either. Be strategic enough to be both when needed. Rule 5: Enforce boundaries quickly and quietly. When someone crosses your boundaries, the speed and clarity of your response matter more than how harsh the punishment is. A quick and fair consequence teaches a lesson better than a late and severe one. And often, silence speaks louder than explanations. Don't keep warning people again and again. Don't give endless second chances for the same behavior. Don't waste time explaining why their actions were wrong. Just apply the consequence immediately and move on. This shows everyone around you that your boundaries are real, not just suggestions. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am unmovable. 6. Scarcity and distance, the hidden power. Here's something many people misunderstand. They believe that being constantly available makes them valuable. They think always saying yes makes them important. They think giving people unlimited access to their time and attention will make them loved. But they are wrong. Scarcity creates value. It always has. When something is rare, people want it more. When something is everywhere, people take it for granted. This applies to money, objects, opportunities, and most importantly, you. When you are always available, you become background noise in people's lives. They know you'll always be there, so they stop appreciating your presence. They know you'll always say yes, so they stop valuing your help. They know you'll always forgive them, so they stop worrying about hurting you. But when your time becomes limited, when your attention becomes selective, and when your forgiveness is no longer guaranteed, everything changes. Suddenly, people begin treating these things like the valuable resources they truly are. Think about the people who hold the most influence in any group. Are they the ones who attend every event and agree with everyone? Almost never. They are usually the ones who show up when they want, leave when they are ready, and say no without feeling the need to explain. Because their presence is selective, it becomes more valuable. This is the power of strategic distance. It doesn't mean being cruel or cold. It simply means being selective about where you invest your time and energy. It means not being endlessly available to everyone. Niccolò Machiavelli once said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel." Everyone can see what you appear to be, but only a few truly know who you are. The less people see of you, the more curious they become. And curiosity has a powerful pull. How this works in real life. Instead of being the person who replies to every message instantly, become someone who replies when it suits you. Instead of accepting every invitation, start choosing which ones truly deserve your time. Instead of helping everyone who asks, help the people who actually appreciate it. This isn't about being rude or selfish. It's about understanding that your time and energy are limited resources, and treating them that way. When you give those resources freely to everyone, they lose value. But when you offer them carefully to people who value them, they become priceless. The interesting thing about scarcity is that it strengthens itself. The less available you become, the more people want your attention. The more they want your attention, the better they treat you to earn it. The better they treat you, the more selective you can afford to be. It becomes an upward cycle of respect and influence. But you must be ready to lose some people along the way. The people who only valued you because you were easy to reach will disappear once you become selective. And that's perfectly fine. Those relationships were never genuine anyway. They were simply people taking advantage of your constant availability. The people who remain, the ones who respect your boundaries and appreciate your presence, are the relationships that truly matter. These relationships are built on mutual respect, not on your desperation to please. Distance also gives you something powerful, clarity. When you stop constantly worrying about everyone else's emotions and opinions, you can finally think clearly about what you truly want. When you're no longer reacting to everyone's demands, you can start focusing on your own goals. This is why powerful people often seem a little distant. It's not that they don't care. It's simply that they don't care too much. They understand that keeping a little emotional distance helps them think clearly and make better decisions. So what really happens when you start using these principles? When you stop chasing approval and start earning respect? When you replace the need to be liked with the strength of being respected? Everything changes. And I mean everything. First, your relationships improve in a big way. Not all of them, though. Some people will dislike the new version of you because they can't manipulate you anymore. But the relationships that remain become deeper and more genuine. People start connecting with the real you instead of the people-pleasing mask you used to wear. Second, your confidence grows massively. Not the fake kind of confidence that depends on other people's approval. Real confidence. The kind that comes from knowing your value is not something people can debate. You stop doubting yourself because you stop worrying about whether others agree with your choices. Third, opportunities start coming to you instead of you chasing them. People begin asking for your opinion because they know you'll tell the truth, not just what they want to hear. They offer you better opportunities because they know you won't just accept whatever they give you. Fourth, your stress drops dramatically. When you stop trying to manage everyone else's emotions and opinions, life becomes much simpler. You can focus on what truly matters instead of constantly worrying about who you might have upset. But the biggest change of all is this. You become psychologically free. Free from the exhausting cycle of always trying to gain approval and avoid disapproval. Free from pretending to be someone different for every person you meet. Free to be your true self without apology or explanation. Niccolò Machiavelli once said, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." Your value doesn't come from what others think about you. It comes from what you think about yourself and how you choose to show up in the world. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, and it won't always feel comfortable. Sometimes you'll feel tempted to fall back into your old habits when things get tough. Sometimes you'll doubt yourself when people react badly to your new boundaries. Sometimes you'll wonder if you're being too harsh when you enforce consequences. But stick with it. Because on the other side of that discomfort is a version of yourself you may have never experienced before. A person who commands respect without demanding it. A person who attracts real relationships without chasing them. A person who holds real power without abusing it. The world is full of people desperately trying to be liked. But it is seriously lacking people who command genuine respect. So the question is simple. Which one do you want to be? If you've made it this far, you're already different from most people. Most people can't handle uncomfortable truths about themselves and their relationships. Most people would rather stay comfortable and powerless than face the reality of how they've been giving away their power. But you're still here. And that means you're ready to change. From someone who gets walked over. To someone who gets respected. From someone who begs for approval. To someone who doesn't need it. From someone who gives their power away. To someone who keeps it. Remember, this isn't about becoming cold or cruel. It's about becoming strong. It's about knowing your value and refusing to accept anything less than respect. It's about breaking free from the addiction to approval that has been controlling your life. And stepping into the power that has been inside you all along. The principles we talked about today. Speaking less and acting more. Never chasing approval. Staying calm when attacked. Remaining unpredictable. Enforcing boundaries quickly. And using scarcity wisely. These aren't just tactics. They're a mindset. A way of moving through life that naturally earns respect. Niccolò Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Don't be the person who waits years, after being disrespected again and again, before finally deciding to stand up for themselves. Start today. Start right now. Start with the very next interaction you have. Your future self. The one who commands respect, builds real relationships, and doesn't depend on anyone's approval to feel complete, is waiting for you. The only question is, how long will you keep them waiting? If this video opened your eyes to how you may have been giving away your power, smash the like button. If you know someone who needs to hear this message, share it with them. And if you want more content that cuts through the noise and gives you real tools for personal power, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell. The journey from people pleaser to a respected person starts with one step. You just took that step by watching this video. Now take the next step by applying what you've learned. Before you leave, drop this final affirmation in the comments. Respect is my birthright. Remember this. In a world where so many people are begging to be liked, the person who doesn't need approval holds the real power. Be that person. Command the respect you deserve. And watch how your life begins to change when you finally stop giving your power away.